Let's hear some noise for both our senior finalists here at the North American International Championships. Omar on the left-hand side, Gabriel on the right here. Look at those accomplishments, Shay. It's just incredible to have both of these players battling it out to just be crowned this champion.
It really is. Both players are an absolutely monumental amount of accomplishments, as you said. Gabriel, EUIC champion, LAIC champion, EUIC champion again, and a previous world champion back in 2023. But Omar, an incredible list of accomplishments as well. EUIC top 8 Charlotte regional finalist, top 4 at Worlds, and Atlanta regional top 4.
Yeah, like I said, actually just incredible just to see all of these players, you know, playing in all of the divisions that we have across today. And this seniors finals is definitely one for the history books here. So much can be written, so much could be undone. And that's where we're going to see both our players really vying for that championship.
It really is, you know, for Gabriel, if he wins this, he would have done the trifecta, winning all ICs in the same season, winning all his home region regionals as well. Ridiculous stats. And for Omar, him and his testing group, they really want to try and stop Gabriel and keep the NAIC championship for a North American. We have Gabriel playing the Charizard EX Pidgeot archetype, Omar playing Dragapult, Dusknoir. This is going to be a really fun game.
Yeah, it's definitely a matchup, I'm sure. Both of these players, well, mainly for Gabriel, he's going to be having to have tested up against this Dragapult EX Dusknoir, I'm sure, in his own testing circles. I'm not too sure too many people would have thought Charizard would become all the way full roundabout to take its position into a final once again. But like I said, both of these players getting to this point, all of those Swiss rounds in day 1, in day 2, the top cut matches, and then now it's just this one more final matchup in this finals.
Yeah, both players just have one more opponent standing in their way of becoming an international champion. You can see the dice roll, both players shuffling up. What do you think is going through our players' heads right now, Alan?
I mean, there's no emotions from either of our players right now. No smiles, and just no niceties across the table at the moment. Both having to be ice cold, locked in. Because remember, there's a big difference on the line for both these players as well. Of course, like you said, that potential grand slam for Gabriel. But that potential for Omar to write his name in the books, to say, I was the one who stopped him.
Yep. No one else really has been able to stop Gabriel so far this season. Omar's going to do his absolute best. Was chatting to some of his friends earlier, and they were saying they was up all night testing the matchup, 10 of them all in the room at the same time, working out the intricacies, working out the lines, trying to optimize the matchup. Will it come up now? Only 2 games for Omar to win. He will be the North American International Champion. Ooh, it doesn't get closer than this.
Yeah, absolutely not here. It's both our players just taking that opportunity to give a good shuffle to each other's decks, as now we're going to see them starting to prepare this game here. Remember, we're going to be heading into this game 1. Thyroid's already been decided on who's going to be going first or second. We'll get confirmation shortly, of course. Both have an active Pokemon here, so it looks like we're going to soon be ready to go.
Looking at Gabriel's body language there, didn't look too happy with that active Pokemon. We'll have confirmation soon. Prize cards are going to be laid out.
Here we go. Omar did win the flip and has chosen to go second here. Lots of opportunities to see and get into the game in multiple different avenues. We do get a chance to glimpse of those prizes.
Wow, a lot of Pokemon. Charmander, Charmeleon, 2 times Body Puffin, but for Omar as well, Blood Moon, Ursaluna, a Dusclops, a Dracloak, and a Dreepy. 2 copies of Counter Catcher as well for Gabriel. This could be rather impactful.
Yeah, usually ever so important. I mean, both of these decks relying on stage 2s can potentially lose a very small Pokemon early on and then relies on playing from behind. We're going to see multiple counter catchers in both of these players' decks, but not anymore, Gabriel. You're going to have to work with what you have access to.
Here we are going to see the handshake, and here is our seniors final getting started. at the North American International Championships. Gabriel is starting off, and even though it did prize 2 copies of Buddy Buddy Puffin, has opened one with Pidgey in the active.
Here we go, game 1. Opportunity for Gabriel to go through that deck, work out what those resources are going to be available to him for this game at this moment in time until we start taking some of those important prizes. But you know you want to go through it. That Gabriel Charizard EX Pidgeot deck, run us through very quickly, Shay.
Yeah, the Charizard Pidgeot deck is a rather straightforward one, but it's an absolute powerhouse. We've seen rule the format, you know, tournaments ago. Charizard EX is an absolute beefcake, 330 hit points and the Infernal Rain ability. When you evolve into it, you can accelerate 3 fire energy from your deck to your Pokemon in any way you like. And that Burning Darkness attack, the longer the game goes on, the scarier it gets. 180 damage for 2 energy, and then 30 for each prize card your opponent has taken. And the backup for Charizard is that Pidgeot EX, with that quick search ability, letting you search your deck for any card you like and popping it into your hand once per turn.
Yeah, an incredible ability, an incredible duo that has come together before, has taken down massive amounts of tournaments before as well, but it's come full circle. And this is where Gabriel's testing is going to really have to shine here, showcasing all of those unique extra cards that are in the list, those little tech cards, maybe to try and swing this usually slightly unfavored matchup with the Dragapult EX's Phantom Dive attack, causing all realms of havoc. Those little tech cards will have to really play a key part here. Buddy Buddy Puffin, double Charmander to the bench now as we begin setting up the board on this first turn. Remember, cannot attack, cannot play a supporter, but we do get an artisan. We're going to see the Monkey Dory coming down now. It's a card we always seem to see every single time we're in these positions. Energy search for a fire energy as well.
Yeah, fantastic turn. And now both players can use that artisan, but it's a very impactful stage and let you search your deck for any basic Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box, and you can pop it straight onto your bench. Monkey Dory there was the target with that Adrena Brain ability. If it has a Dark Energy attached, you can move 3 damage counters from any one of your Pokemon over to your opponents. But it is Omar's turn now. We did see the pass. We see a rescue board again attached to the active, and there's the Ino. This could be really, really impactful. There's no playable cards apart from that rescue board for Omar. We need to see some Pokemon. Do we see any?
It looks like there was one maybe just grabbed off there. Does have access to Artisan there. This is going to be Omar's first deck search as well, and we're going to be exactly the same scenario. It's going to be working out those prizes, working out those resources. Remember, in the same vein, this Dragapult Dusnoir deck, it relies heavily on the Dragapult EX to really carry its way through. Phantom Dive, arguably the best attack in the game. 200 damage to the active Pokemon, but 6 damage counters to your opponent's bench in any way you like. You supplement that with its pre-built draw engine, Recon Directive, Dracloaks there. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one into your hand and the other to the bottom. And that's why it's such a powerful archetype. But you combo that with the Dusnoirs, the Dusclopses, where they have that Curse Blast ability, where once during your turn you can put 5 damage counters or 13 on your opponent's Pokemon. It does cause a knockout from your side of the field, so your opponent does go ahead in prizes, but then you start activating all those key components, those counter catchers, and you start targeting down and whittling away your opponent's board when you combine those things with things like the Iono.
Yeah, it's a really interesting archetype. The Phantom Dive damage getting bolstered with the Curse Blast means no Pokemon is truly safe. We do see a Budu and another Dreepy hit the bench. We do see the free retreat thanks to the rescue board. And it looks like we are going to see a turn attachment first. And then we're going to see an Itchy Pollen, 10 damage. And Gabriel can't play any item cards. Now it's Gabriel's turn too.
Pretty strong turn, despite just an instant Iono being played. Drew into the cards that he required, like the rescue board, like the fire engine. Remember, those energy attachments are ever so important in the deck, but has Artisan as well to just continue going through the deck and getting another Dreepy down. So nothing to really complain too much of. Can't really evolve on your first turn, of course, but you're getting the item lock going. You are slowing the game down so that you can build up your board.
We do see the Artisan being used. Now, this is actually going to shuffle the deck for Gabriel. So whatever cards were put to the bottom via INO are going to get shuffled in back into the mix. Gabriel will be able to grab another bench another basic Pokemon, I should say. But with that item lock, won't be able to catapult into a Charizard EX via Rare Candy or Pidgeot. So I guess best case scenario here will be try and get as many Charmeleons out as possible.
Yeah, would love to maybe find a way into that technical machine evolutions as well.
Yep.
Does target down another Pidgey to go onto the bench, just in case that active has a bit of a struggle there and gets knocked out potentially.
Oh,
but
wow.
as he just has the Fire Energy and a technical machine evolution in hand, so we're going to be seeing a great turn there. Announcement of evolution. Charmeleon and Pidgeotto hits the field one step away from those ever so powerful stage 2s.
Love that a lot, Gabriel. That was a great turn too. All things considered, is over to Omar now. Let's see what he can piece together. We do see a Dracloak hit the field. Recon Directive is live. Then you look at the top 2 cards of your deck. One goes in your hand, one goes to the bottom. Arven, very helpful. Then you grab a tool card and an item.
Yeah, absolutely, to try and set up those combo pieces, especially when you're eyeing or seeing your opponent's board where he has those Charmeleons, has the Monkey Dory already live with a Dark Energy, has, of course, the Pidgeotto. We do see a Jacques come down now as the supporter of choice over the Arven, grabs 2 evolution Pokemon there, as you see the second Dracloak being targeted alongside that Dusclops. Not yet being able to get anything like the Dusclopes down, does play 3 copies of them, hasn't really drawn into anything like the Buddy Buddy Poffin and so on yet either. The Artisan still is in play, of course, but at the same time, when you're not playing rare candies yourself, you can keep slowing the game down where possible, but there is that impending, I should say, threat on the board from Gabriel because he's already got that Charmeleon down.
Do you see the second Dracloak hit the field and a second Recon Directive get played? There is a Duskull, and we are going to see an Artisan as well. We could see a second Duskull here come down and a one from the hand. We could see another Dreepy. Could see Monkey Dory to potentially get developed as well. I think, was that a Duskull?
Looks like a...
Oh, another Dreepy.
Yep, set up the board. Let's get a few more Recon Directives, a few more Dracloaks live and active, especially when you evolve one of those up. You lose that access to that Recon Directive, of course, but if you continue to build the board around that, have that inherent draw power that makes Dragapult EX so strong when it's got a pre-built-in draw engine just from that evolution line, I think this is the right play. We get the Duskull down as well. Again, it's one of those threats where you can't ignore. Itchy Pollen announced 2 damage counters now on that Pidgey.
Is over to Gabriel now. Did have the fantastic TM evolution turn. What can he do? Another one would be fantastic. Maybe just a manual evolution for the Charizard EX to start getting energy in play. Obviously, Pidgeot would then unlock the deck completely. Don't forget, is item lock now, so we won't be able to play any items, Ultra Balls, anything like this. Haven't had a chance to consult his hand yet. Looks like we do see an Arven. There's a Charizard EX in hand.
Yeah, it's one of those decisions when you've got to find the right moment to either overcome the Badoo or take down something else. Looks like this Arven's going to be... Oh, I mean, he keeps second-guessing himself. Maybe just kind of getting the evolution up, get that Infernal Rain going first as well. Remember, when you evolve from your hand, you get to attach from the deck up to 3 energies, fire energies, I should say, to your Pokemon in any way you'd like. Charizard EX only requires 2, so the extra 1 allows you to kind of thin out the deck a little bit more, but also help to supplement the rest of your board where you need to. And that's the Infernal Rain now concluded. Does look like the Artisan's being played now as well. A couple of options that can be picked up here. I'm sure you'd love to find that Pidgeot EX somehow.
Can't tell. That might have been the Arven being played.
Yeah, I think it was, but
confirmation.
Looks like a couple of cards.
Charizard coming into play though. That is a 330 hit point powerhouse. We are going to see a pay retreat. We are going to see Charmander hit the active, and it's going to be steady fire breathe. Is there?
It's the Monkey.
Oh, Monkey Dory first.
Dory, Adrenabrain first as an ability, trying to maybe preserve those damage counters on your opponent's side of the board for the moment.
And it is a technical machine evolution that would have been taken off the Arven.
Feels really nice, especially when you can Artisan still, because you haven't yet utilized it. Using that Arven to grab that Technical Machine Evolution, kind of, again, just build up the board. You might be under item lock, but when you have access to energy, when you have access to that Technical Machine Evolution, you can have a board like this. You don't have to worry about this Pidgeot EX potentially going down, because you just have a Pidgeotto ready to go as well that can once again just evolve up into that fantastic ability Quick Search. Remember, you can only use Quick Search once per turn, so it doesn't allow you to use it twice, even if you get 2 Pidgeot EX. But just having the Pidgeotto there kind of sets up the board to say, well, I'm always going to have access to this Quick Search where possible.
Do you see the Artisan being used for Omar as it is his turn? Going to grab the second Duskull, popping it into play. This is a very scary board state to deal with. You know, when you have multiple Cursed Blast options, the damage can start to get out of hand. But an interesting wrinkle, for every Cursed Blast used, that does make that Burning Darkness hit for more damage. Could be an interesting X factor to keep an eye on for the rest of this game. We are going to see a Recon Directive being used here, 2 cards. Duskull Night Stretch, I believe that is. Or was that Counter Catcher? One of the two, whatever it is, has been taken.
Yeah, Duskull sent to the bottom of the deck. Iono and Buddy Buddy Poff in there from the second Recon Directive. Just going to be looking, I'm sure, for another Dracloak where possible here. Here's the Dusclops now after that pickup from the Jacques, and an Iono to boot as well. So we're saying that my hand wasn't quite good enough. Not right now in this scenario. Remember, to take a big one-hit KO on the Charizard, we'll need something like the Dusclops Curse Blast ability and a Phantom Dive attack. So we see the third Recon Directive now, Psychic Energy picked up. That would allow that damaged Dracloak to be able to attack if this is the turn that Omar decides to actually release or relinquish the item lock on Gabriel's side of the board.
I think it might be getting towards that time. You know, Gabriel has already set up here. We do see the Dragapult EX getting involved. We do see a turn attachment of the Psychic, but it is still going to be an Itchy Pollen. Remember, Gabriel has had a new hand now thanks to Iono, but does have Quick Search currently live. See Boss's Orders in that hand. What else do we see? An Iono Ultra Ball, it looks like.
Yep, a nice patient game from both of our players for the moment. We've just had Itchy Pollens and Evolution attacks thus far. Again, just making sure that they can build up that board state. Omar's still going to be working towards making sure he can get energy attachments to multiple Dracloaks, multiple Dragapult EXs, because you only get 1 attachment per turn. There is not anything like the Sparkling Crystal or Neo Upper Energy. A spec of choice is that unfair stamp to try and completely disrupt your opponent's board state. Gabriel here just has decisions to make in terms of, once again, having to try and find a way also out of this item lock, or maybe to start initiating prize races. This is where it really becomes a really tricky decision for both of our players.
Do you see Quick Search being used there? So whatever card Gabriel, once he has it, there's the Boss's Orders being played. Is going to be into the Dusclops, removing any Dusknoir next turn, making his life as hard as possible. There we are going to see a pay retreat from the Charmander. The big, the bad, the scary Charizard EX hits the active. We see another Pidgeot EX come down. We can't use both of them at the same time, though. Only 1 Quick Search per turn. Monkey Dory as well, moving off that damage.
Get full value out of your Adrenabrain when and where you can. Gabriel targeting that support sort of combo card that you see in Omar's list. Not worrying too much about the attacker for the moment, at least, as we do tick that up to 3 damage counters now.
And it looks like we do see, and there is the big, the bad, the scary Burning Darkness. Big KO there for Gabriel, is on the board. First prize card taken here in our Senior North American International Championship final. Is over to Omar now. Does promote that Badoo. Does have a free retreat cost, though. Could this be the turn to relinquish the item lock? We must be getting towards that scenario soon.
Yeah, it's time to start thinking about how we overcome this big terror Charizard EX. 330 HP. You're only dealing 200 to the active Pokemon. Artisan currently being used to maybe shuffle around some of those cards that went to the bottom of the deck as well. We knew a couple of counter catches went down there. And then it's just a Buddy Buddy popping forward the Duskull. We're going to keep saying this threat is going to continue to come back. and you're going to have to either deal with it or deal with it in our big...
But there is the unfair stamp, that A-spec. That's going to reduce Gabriel's hand size down to 2. Omar will get 5. Hasn't played a supporter card yet. But worth noting, Alex, unfair stamp, is it as useful when your opponent has quick search available?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where Gabriel's got to be thinking, well, this isn't too bad at all. I have access to any card in my deck that I would like through that fantastic quick search ability. But when you're Omar, when this is your way of kind of drawing a fresh new 5 cards after shuffling away, maybe looking for some important pieces here, didn't look too strong, but can still play a supporter here.
Supporter boss's orders live. Professor's research has been played, though. Discarding that hand for 7. Gabriel immediately picking them up, consulting what's in the discard pile.
And now we've got 2 further recon directors as well. Luminous Energy could have been useful if we had our own Monkey Dory down, but doesn't quite right now. The board is full. Rescue Stretcher, key piece to try and maybe get the Dust Clops back. As an example, second recon directive now, just kind of being eyed up. Has access to things like Counter Catcher as well. So could go down a different route instead of hitting into the Charizard EX. The same thing.
Night Stretcher taken 1, Luminous Energy taken the second. I wonder if we'll see Night Stretcher to develop that Dust Clops, perhaps. There is no rare candy in Omar's list, I believe. So in order to get to that Dust Noir plus Phantom Dive combination, we'll need to evolve up through the Dust Clops.
Yeah, but again, it's just going to be one of those things where maybe you start thinking about taking down the other support Pokemon. You know, one of the big counters to Dragapult EX with those damage placement drops is things like the Monkey Dory and the Adrenabrain, but let's see the direction Omar gets here. Energy attachment to the Dracloak. Dragapult EX now in the active position. Plenty of cards to work with from that last hand after the research there as well. It's just going to be a Phantom Dive attack. 200 damage to the active. Let's take a look at how he's going to place these 6 damage counters as well. Because remember, 3 damage counter can just fly straight back over, 6 straight onto the Charmander, just putting it in range regardless of what you might try and do with that Adrenabrain ability.
Yeah, strong turn there. Adrenabrain only moves 30 damage off, so can't completely heal anything, nowhere near. He is over to Gabriel's side of the board now. Looks like he's going to start to turn off with the quick search. Haven't had a chance to consult the hand, but remember, was hit via the unfair stamp. 2 cards from unfair stamp plus a top deck, that's 3. Here comes quick search. Wonder what we're going to grab.
So many unique different pieces. I couldn't quite see what was in the hands after the unfair stamp, of course, also after the top deck card as well. But it looks like there's one particular card that Gabriel has identified as the next key piece here.
Picnic basket.
There we see one of those tech cards that Gabriel has been piloting in this Charizard EX Pidgeot list. We've heard murmurs of it being a fantastic card to start teching in against things like the Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. For example, heal 30 damage from each of your Pokemon, and that, alongside an Adrenabrain, could actually completely nullify that 60 on that Charmander on the bench right now.
Wonder how strong that hand is, though. If you can quick search for Picnic Basket, can the hand support anything else, or is the Picnic Basket just so important now? Needed to grab it. So Picnic Basket is potentially being played here. As you did rightfully say, Alex, Picnic Basket in combination with Adrenabrain would completely heal that bench Charmander.
Yeah, if we just wishes to do so. Does also heal as a backup your opponent's Pokemon as well as heal all Pokemon. Right, there's the boss's orders.
The boss's orders again, completely removing the Cursed Blast threat. Dust Noir nowhere to be seen next turn either. Back-to-back boss's orders.
And again, it's going to be back to Omar to try and once again disrupt, even though you know your opponent has access to that Pidgeot EX. I think Gabriel also had access to an Iono in hand as well. Adrenabrain being utilized here first from Gabriel. That decision is going to be ever so important, whether you begin trying to set up your opponent. Looks like we're targeting down the Badoo potentially here. That would be a mid-game KO without actually attacking yet. Would put Gabriel down to 4 prizes, and then after the knockout with 3 prizes. But I think he's just trying to prize map his way to victory here. It's going to be ever so important.
So important, you know, when there's Curse Blast prizes, Burning Darkness math as well. Every prize card really does matter. Could pop it onto the active to prevent it coming straight back via any sneaky Adrenabrains from Omar's side of the board as well. We do see a Burning Darkness KO though. KOing that Dusclops. 2 prize cards taken for Gabriel. Removing any Dust Noir threat. Over to Omar, promotes the Badoo. But that Charizard EX, Alex, 160 hit points left. You have to assume it could be going down this turn.
Yep, and exactly. If you're Omar, remember, even if you find an Iono, you're still giving Gabriel 4 cards, plus 1 of the top deck, plus the quick search. Maybe it's not really enough. Right now, he knows that Gabriel's working with sort of 3-4 cards already as it is after taking that prize. So we're just going to have to see which direction we go down here for Omar. Recon Directive first, see what resources we have access to.
That was Ino, looks like being taken.
And we know the knockout's going to happen this turn, or it has to happen this turn. You can't just keep leaving it unchecked. Another Iono put to the palm of deck for now, knowing technically it's a little bit closer if you play the other one in hand back to the top of the deck, I should say. And Ice Stretcher once again being eyed up. Looks like that's going to be probably the second of the 3 count in the list right now, just to keep trying to recover things like the Dust Gold, like the Dusclops, after 2 have already gone down.
There it is, as you do rightfully say. Night Stretcher, I imagine, is going to be that Dusclops. Now, it could be a devastating turn if you can line up a Dust Noir Curse Blast plus Phantom Dive into a fresh Charizard EX. That would completely remove it from play in one fell turn.
I wonder how much Omar knows of Gabriel's list, knowing that he's the one who's going to continue being sort of either in the same prizes at 4, if he takes the knockout here on this Charizard EX, not activating anything like Counter Catcher, because there's 2 Boss's Orders already used from Gabriel's side of the field, and there's only 2 in the list. Of course, he doesn't know the information like we do that Counter Catchers are at the top of the prizes. And we do see the retreat now. Dragapult EX in the active position, ready to fire away a Phantom Dive. Is there anything else more we can do? He's got to make that decision about playing that Iono or not. Just decides to attack. Big knockout here on the Charizard EX. Gabriel just double checking that no supporter was been played. 2 prizes taken here. Now it's the 6 damage counters onto, it looks like spread out across the 2 Charmanders and the Monkey Dory, reducing the value that Gabriel could potentially get here.
Did take a Blood Moon Ursaluna and a Basic Energy out of the prize cards, but that we are now at a tie game. 2 prize cards taken for each of our players. Omar has no damage in play, so no easy prize cards. As you do say, both boss orders have been used. Counter Catchers are in the prize cards. Is over to Gabriel now. Does have a Charizard EX currently in the hand.
And the Pheasantipity that is just deliberating, placing onto the field. Remember, we know that it sometimes can be a bit of a liability with 210 HP. But when you're trying to turn the story in your favor, you flipped that script. Draw 3 cards when your opponent has taken a knockout during the last turn, finds an Iono or has the Iono to play as well, reducing both players down to 4 cards here. Quick Search still live.
Ooh, Max Belt Rare Candy Ultra Ball. It's a great set of cards there. We did need Rare Candy or Charizard combination to get into another attacker.
Wonder if we just have those energies as well. Has to have had that Super Rod maybe, because we've already seen some discards of some of those fire energies. And of course the 2 that went away with that Charizard EX, which went down because he was holding that Charizard EX. A quick search for a Rare Candy wouldn't have been enough to get those energies live with Infernal Rain to be able to have another attacker. Now there's the Rare Candy. Here's the Charizard EX. We're back again for Infernal Rain. 3 energies from the deck, up to 3 energy and 3 fire energies, I should say, from the deck. 2 will have to go on this Charizard to swing away with Burning Darkness.
Absolute fantastic turn there. Found all the pieces needed. Super Rod, Rare Candy, Charizard, Pidgeot showing this immense value here. And you have to wonder, where's the energy going to go? We are going to see 3 on the Pheasantipity. Cruel Arrow. Then you do 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. I wonder if are we going to see the Cruel Arrow into the Dusclops? Gabriel immediately trying to keep that Dust Noir away. Is that what we're going to see?
It's a big threat, and I think that's why Gabriel's been taking it out every single time. Monkey Dory, Adrenabrain, 2 energies. Cruel Arrow, 100 damage onto the Dusclops, taking out any big combo threats on Omar's side of the board. Down to 3 prizes. Omar, how can you answer this?
Wow, Cruel Arrow. Dusclops has come into play 3 times here in this game, and 3 times it has immediately been sent back to the discard pile from Gabriel. Gabriel wants nothing to do with that Dust Noir. It's over to Omar now, though.
Right now, Omar's basically working with just a straight Dragapult EX deck.
Yep.
These Dusclops aren't hanging around long enough because he always wants to utilize it for Dusclops' ability, Dusnoir's ability, because the 13 damage counters are always so much more important when you're giving up a prize.
We are going to see the Recon Directive being used. Do want to draw attention to the max belt A-spec from Gabriel. Extra 50 damage when you're hitting into EX Pokemon. I wonder if Omar even knows what the A-spec is, you have to imagine. Probably does.
If they were testing last night with that Friends testing group, I'm pretty sure they would have worked out by now, especially when the seniors seem to always know they're going to end up facing one another. They would have an idea of what's in each other's decks here, as we do see the second Recon Directive now. Switch Counter Catcher is live.
Is live.
That's definitely an option if we want to start swinging away. Maybe not at the Charizard EX. Start attacking the Charizard EX, kind of putting it into range, make it quite difficult for your opponent to maneuver around, maybe. But still that Pheasantipity in the active spot after that Cruel Arrow. Ooh, looks like the Hawlucha being eyed up as well. Ultra Ball, Flying Entry as the ability of the Hawlucha will allow you to, when benching it from your hand, put 1 damage counter on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon.
That can bring that Charmander down to 60 hit points. Phantom Dive does spread 6 damage counters, so we could see a KO there.
It's one of those things where sometimes you utilize it just to finish off something like that Pheasantipity EX. But Flying Entry coming in now, one on that Charmander, one on one of those Pidgeot EX. It's not too often we get to see 2 of them live on your opponent's side of the board, or anyone's board, really. But here we are in Game 1 of this Seniors Final. Phantom Dive, 200 damage to the active, 6 damage counters to the Charmander. We're reducing the opportunity for more Infernal Rains here. And it's just 10 HP left on that Pheasantipity EX. Great heads-up play by Omar to reduce that opportunity to have an attacker outside of this Pheasantipity EX, bringing the game level once again.
Yeah, devastating turn. We're not going to be announcing Burning Darkness this turn. There is no extra way to get energy into play on Gabriel's deck. Cruel Arrow's the only attack that could be announced.
And then you're leaving a 10 HP Pheasantipity, which never feels great.
We are going to use the flip the script ability now, though. Draw 3.
That's what it's usually there for. Can we turn this story around? Artisan being utilized now. He's just eyeing up that Professor Churro scenario, I think, from the quick search, just kind of saying, well, this is the direction we've got to go down. I don't want to give up something like my Pheasantipity EX right now. Charmander first from the Artisan. We'll need to try and get that and weave in an attacker here. But at this point, which route do you take on this turn? If you use Professor Churro's scenario, you do negate all that damage on that Pheasantipity EX. But it does mean the energies would go to the discard pile as well, as you do pick up the Pheasantipity to the hand. And then without any real attackers, what do you move into? You can, of course, still go into the Pidgeot EX as a free retreater for the moment as well, giving yourself a chance to pivot around. But here we go. Looks like the Luminous Energy attached to the Charizard EX for the moment. Adrenabrain knockout.
Mid-turn KO with the Adrenabrain.
Still those double counter catchers sitting pretty at the top. Professor Churro scenario nullifying that 200 damage or 170 that remained on that Pheasantipity EX, of course. Pidgeot EX in the active.
And it looks like we're going to see the pass now.
I was going to say Gabriel's locking in by shuffling his chair forward. He knows this is we're walking a tightrope for both of these players now. We're getting to that mid to late game scenario points. 3 prizes remaining for Omar, 2 left for Gabriel.
So Buddy Buddy Poffin has been played. It might have been failed, though. We are going to see an Ultra Ball being played here as well. That's going to be for a Charizard EX. Now, that Charmander did come into play this turn, so we can't see any shenanigans with that. We'll have to wait a turn. But wow. Gabriel doing everything he can to hold on. Just going to leave the Pidgeot EX in the act. Oh, no, we're going to see a retreat, I should say. Or not. Always thinking about it.
It's making you guess.
Making me guess. Max Belt has been attached to that Charizard EX. Remember, that has got an energy card attached to it, Luminous. So we could see that attack next turn.
Remember, extra 50 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. You're already ramping up with your opponent taking prizes, but let's ramp it up to maximum with this belt here as well. But, I mean, in this scenario, it looks like it's going to be a pass. That Pidgeot has to tank a hit. Maybe go into the fresh one, that extra 1 damage counter. Just potentially could play a pivotal point, perhaps. Pidgeot EX in the active spot now. 280 HP, so not easy for a Dragon Ball EX to knock out, of course. And it's going to be a pass. Worth noting, with that Max Belt, Burning Darkness does actually reach into a Dragon Ball EX for a big, crisp, clean 1-hit KO. And that would wrap up this game. What can Omar do to stop this? 3 prize cards left. Don't see a way to take all 3 of them this turn. That would be monstrous. But what can Omar do? This is a nail-biter here, folks. Omar's going to have to figure out about taking, perhaps once again, somehow, that Charmander down. So you don't want to give him access to more big Charizard EXs. You want to try and figure out what these 3 prizes are going to be to win this game 1, right? So we do see the Recon Directive now. Some key pickups. How helpful will they be? Ultra Ball and a Switch. Looks like Switch going straight back to the bottom again. Not needed for this turn or necessarily even matchup for the moment. Working with quite a few pieces as well. Has a second Recon Directive live. Ultra Ball again.
Professor's Research.
Is that the turn that you want to use it as well? There's a Boss's Orders, counter catchers.
All manner of ways to play musical chairs with Gabriel's Pokemon currently in the hand. Professor's Research is very costly to use, though. But I guess you could counter catcher plus Professor's Research, essentially play 2 supporters in a turn.
Is there a way to protect the board here? As it looks like an Ultra Ball, oh no, the Professor's Research is going into hand with the Ultra Ball going to the bottom of the deck. Decision making at the highest point here.
Serendipity hitting the field and a flip the script. That is a very easy 2 prize cards for Gabriel to take.
I think what was key is making sure we do get another attacker. Hasn't found another non-luminous energy, so that second Dracloak there just kind of waiting in the wings with that luminous energy. Cannot have a second one attached. As it nullifies that effect of the special energy, of course, providing every type. Does need to find a Psychic or a Fire to attach to it. Don't think I saw one in the hand right now. It does have the Dragapult EX to evolve up, just to make sure we can swing away afterwards as well.
This is the decision. We're going to see a retreat. We have to leave a 1 prizer in the active. Oh, this is so close. Dracloak currently in the active spot now. And it's just going to be the pass over to Gabriel now.
Both players taking a leaf out of the book from yesterday's top 4, where passes are ever so important, not necessarily having to attack into your opponent right now.
So it's Super Rod going to shuffle in 3 energy cards. We're going to need them. There's a rare candy, Charizard, Infernal Rain. Burning Darkness is live now. Ooh, boy.
But with the free retreat, that does mean the Charizard will be able to take a knockout, of course, on this Dracloak.
Yep.
Omar knows Gabriel doesn't have access to the boss's orders or those counter catchers.
Wow, and the INO as well. It's going to reset Omar's hand down to 3. Gabriel will get 2. Does have quick search to get out of it. We are going to see the Adrenabrain as well.
Keep making sure some of that value is moved off your board. It's just a heal 20 effectively from this Adrenabrain. Charizard EX promoted to the active spot. The Adrenabrain moved to 20 to the active Dracloak there, down to 70 HP. Burning Darkness to take Gabriel down to 1 prize remaining. 1 more attack away from taking game 1 of this Seniors North America International Championships final.
What do we see there in the hand for Omar? Night Stretcher, Ultra Ball. Was it Ino perhaps? Does that flip the script available though? Draw 3, 1, 2, and a third. There's an Energy, double Arven.
This is going to be one of those tricky spots because you've got to be thinking, what happens next? Even if I play an Iono, what if my opponent could find some other way to just swing into any of my Pokemon? That Charizard EX is dealing a lot of damage right now.
Yeah, it's doing enough to one-shot a Dragapult EX thanks to that maximum belt A-spec. So that means, well, can't leave Dragapult EX in the active, can't leave a one-prizer in the active. Can't try and boss his order, counter-catch a stall Pidgeot, free retreat cost. Monkey Dory has an energy attached as well. This is looking like a tough situation. That is a concession from Omar. Gabriel does win game 1 here at the North American International Championships. 1 game away from being the champion.
Out of answers there in this game 1. Unable to find an opportunity, a chance to try and take this back and claw it back from game 1, but congratulations to Gabriel for that first game. I mean, played it perfectly, targeted down those dust clocks, which were always going to be so important in this matchup because that Curse Blast ability is one way that usually Omar is able to overcome such a deck. We do have a chance to kind of just recap exactly how this all went down now as well.
Yeah, this was a super awkward game for Gabriel. And if I'm Omar, I'm thinking, I reckon I can win a game 2 and a game 3 here because Gabriel really had to jump over some hurdles. Was off to the races first, a clutch picnic basket, but Gabriel was able to just keep away this Dust Clops, I should say, kept sending it back to the discard pile. We saw Cruel Arrow of all things KOing it. And then this is where we did see the big bad Charizard EX get KO, but here was the Cruel Arrow catching us all by surprise, but it was definitely the heads-up play that kept Gabriel in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, despite this big Phantom Dive, after more Adrenabrain shenanigans, that Professor Churro scenario, just basically saying that turn was nothing, and I'm happy to kind of pass here whilst I'll build up my board state once again. But eventually, we did have the big, the bad, the Charizard EX ready to go. Burning Darkness, taking the second to last prize. With just 1 prize remaining, there was just no more outs for Omar. All of those Pokemon easily knocked out because of that Maximum Belt. Maximum
Belt, a Q's clutch edition there. So that is game 1, that set the tone. Gabriel's 1 game away. But if I'm Omar, I'm thinking, we already heard Gabriel say he's not too confident in this matchup. Sure, you can give away 1. The matchup should be in his favor. I'm feeling confident if I'm him to win a game 2 and a game 3.
I mean, when you're facing up against Gabriel, I wouldn't be so sure. It looks like both our players are ready, however. We did see the fist bump. This is going to be game 2 of our seniors final here at the North America International Championships. Looks like Omar's decided once again to go second. It looked like Gabriel did draw the first card in his... Yep, he's going to be playing that Buddy Poffin, the perfect card to be opening with, especially if you're going first.
I think this is the mirror of how game 1 started. Buddy Poffin has been played. Immediately going to grab 2 Charmander. And this is Gabriel's first time to consult the deck. That Picnic Basket, which we saw be super impactful in game 1, currently at the prize cards. The Charmeleon that is immune to being damaged while it's on the bench, currently in the prize cards as well as 1 copy of Boss Orders, Arven, Energy Search, and Buddy Poffin.
I think we can work with that. The Picnic Basket is useful, especially when your opponent is sending lots of damage counters over, but you still got ways to combat that for now. You have the Monkey Dory, Adrenabrain, which you saw utilized to full effect, getting full value, getting those healing options, and just kind of making sure that those damage counters are reduced as much as possible. But it looks like it is going to be the double Charmander from that Buddy Poffin. It's going to be pretty much the same board state that we kind of saw from game 1. The only things that are missing next, what could still be in hand is something like that Artisan, and we might see the Monkey Dory and a Dark Energy come down again as well. If I recall, there was also the Energy Search in that first opening turn in game 1. I mean, he had it all. He could still have it all here, still plenty of cards in that hand.
We haven't had a chance to consult the hand, but if I'm Gabriel, I'm thinking, okay, I need to win one more game to become the champion. I'll take this start and I'll take those prize cards, as you did say. Picnic Bucket was super impactful, but I think you can afford to try and chuck it away in the prize cards. I'd love to try and get a look at the hand. There's the Artisan.
Yeah, we're just playing exactly the same turn that we had in game 1. This time, it's facing up against the Badoo, knowing an Itchy Pollen is likely to just come away here on this turn, as this, I'm sure, is probably going to grab, if you can, that Monkey Dory.
If you have the energy to support it, that would be fantastic. We did see second Pidgey last game. We do see second Pidgey now.
Very true.
I don't mind it.
Don't have the Dark Energy or Luminous Energy that you play. Maybe if you have a Fire, you can still get it attached to the active, so you have a Pokemon to attack with Technical Machine Evolution, a Pokemon to with that Energy Retreat if needed as well. So it's just going to have to be working through. There's only the one Dark Energy and one Luminous Energy in this list that helps the Monkey Dory utilize that Adrenabrain ability.
So with that Energy Search currently prized, we'll probably have to rely on, well, either drawing into it, well, we'd rather look at it, or you could quick search for the Dark or Luminous as well.
Yeah, we got to get there first, Shay. We got to get to those Pidgeot EX. Those Pidgeys, you know, they're doing their best, hiding away in those bushes, but it's going to have to take a little bit longer to get up to that fantastic Pidgeot EX's quick search ability.
Looks like the Artisan now has concluded. Deck is being shuffled. Wonder what else could we see this turn. Any energy attachment would be nice, but I guess when you've got Infernal Rains, not super impactful, perhaps.
Not as important as Omar's side of the field right now.
Yep.
Remember, like you just said, just having pre-built-in energy acceleration, such an important, powerful mechanic we have in the Pokemon trading card game. And then not only that, that fantastic attack, which just keeps ramping. And then you ramp it up yourself with the Pidgeot to grab something like the Maximum Belt. Really have fought it all. Fire Energy to the active, and it's a pass over Omar's first turn here. Like I said, has started a Badoo this time. Do have a Dreepy now hitting the field. And the Iono, so slightly bit better than that game 1's first turn. But he ended up actually having a pretty good turn, especially when you have access to your opponent's Artisan as well.
So this is Omar's first turn of the game here in our game 2. Omar, this is where legends are made. If you want to become the North American International Champion, you have to win this game. After the Ino, we are going to see the Artisan being played as we do get to consult Omar's prize cards. That's a one-off Dusknoir currently in the prizes. Now, traditionally, players do take their prizes from bottom to top, so we might be able to liberate that soon. 2 copies of Jack. The only copies of Jack are currently prized. Monkey Dory and Buddy Buddy Puffin. I think if you were to consult the prize cards for both players, Omar's are probably a bit worse.
Just a little bit. Won't have access to the Monkey Dory. Not like we saw it in the first game anyway, because typically when Gabriel's attacking with that Charizard, you know, he's going to be targeting down Pokemon he can knock out. Just like, especially those threats that are on the board, those Duskulls, those Dusclops, eventually that Dusknoir, rather than necessarily smacking into a Dragapult EX, which could take a hit, send things flying back.
Yep.
You just want to be kind of reducing the setup of your opponent's board. And once Gabriel was able to do that in game 1, kind of made it look pretty simple. But we do get an energy attachment from the Dreepy and a Duskull and an Itchy Pollen. We're going to see things very similar to what we had in game 1 here. Gabriel is now item locked after that Itchy Pollen.
Well, last time in game 1, we saw Gabriel able to do a Technical Machine Evolution on this turn. I think that was super impactful for him to stay in that game. Do we see it again? There we see that Brock Scouting, letting you grab 1 Evolution Pokemon, or 2 basic. We are going to see the Pidgeotto. So maybe like a halfway house between the Technical Machine Evolution. Now, if we did see the Technical Machine Evolution turn here as well, that would be monumental.
That would be ideal, because that would guarantee you straight into a Pidgeot EX on your next turn. Well, basically to be used on your next turn, I should say. But let's have a little look. Dark Energy in hand.
Dark Energy already.
Well. So early on. Such an important counter card, counter ability.
Pidgeot's in hand. Charizard EX is in hand.
But of course can't play.
Oh.
Yeah, can't play any.
Are we going to see a Adrenabrain plus Flap combination for the KO? Does get you there.
Does certainly. No, going straight into a setup.
We're going to see the retreat into the Cleffa. We are going to see the Adrenabrain. No grasping draw. from that Cleffa, zero energy attacker, War of the Baby Pokemon Cleffa, letting you draw to you have 7 cards in your hand. Worth noting that A-Spec maximum belt has been found. Is over to Omar now, though, starting to turn off with the Buddy Buddy Puffin.
Yeah, the 2 baby Pokemon in the active spots now. 3 Dreepies and 2 Duskulls. Once again, we had this board state in game 1, but at the same time, your opponent's board setup wasn't as good or isn't as good now because it hasn't been able to use that technical machine evolution to get into things like the Charmeleon, to get into things eventually like the Pidgeot and the Charizard EX. So Omar's going to be looking at this board thinking maybe this is a little bit safer now. I can start continuing to use Itchy Pollen, and my opponent only really is dealing with just the 1 Pidgeot. Dracloak was in hand already. You see Recon Directive. Unfair Stamp being picked up. Buddy Buddy Puffin, not a useful card for the moment. Looks like Iron Up and Arvin as well. Try and get some more important resources going at the same time.
Big Dracloak there hitting the field. Didn't see any turn attachments yet so far. I'm going to find Ultra Ball and that rescue board, I believe. Ultra Ball could go find another Dracloak to get multiple uses there. Of Recon Directive, 1 more, I should say. Just consulting Gabriel's hand there. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Quick search, next turn. We are going to see the Ultra Ball conclude for the Dracloak. And this is what we need for Omar. Get multiple Dracloak in play. And I wonder if he's approaching this game differently, knowing that his Dusknoir is prized. I wonder if he potentially holds off evolving the Dusclops, perhaps. I'm sure. We do see the evolution now into the Dracloak. Recon Directive being used.
Buddy Buddy Puffin and the Fire Energy there. So again, making sure we have the right energies to keep attaching. Gets it attached to the Dracloak there. Kind of setting up. Another Itchy Pollen announced here. 10 damage on that Cleffa. Not going to be dealing too much for the moment, but we now have our Pidgeot EX live. Pidgeotto also in hand as well to can go up into the next evolution from that Pidgey, as we do see it now. One of the other fantastic things about that card, actually, I believe it also gives another free retreat, which is also great to have when you're playing Pokemon at the same time. We do see the Adrenabrain. I think it looks like that 10 damage from the Cleffa that was there. So just have a little look. It's an Arvin.
Arvin, fantastic supporter to find there. Quick search already being used. Who needs technical machine evolution? Rare Candy. There's a technical machine evolution as well. We love to see it. Gabriel, even though under the Itchy Pollen lock, has able to set up quick search as well being used. I wonder what that card was. He picked it rather quickly, slammed it straight down.
Yeah, it's going to be such a important turn here, of course. That Pidgeot EX does still have the Fire Energy on it now. It's not going to be something that's easy to get off it without utilizing something like Professor Churro's scenario, because it has that free retreat, so it doesn't really disappear. But maybe you can go into any of these three Pokemon that have energy attached to it. But it looks like just deciding a grasping draw for 1 card. Back over to Omar. Initiative over to you right now. Hasn't been able to find the Dusclops, so can't go into anything further right now. Of course, we remember the Dusknoir is currently sat in the prizes.
We are going to start the turn off there for Omar with the Recon Directive. Iono being taken. Wonder what else we have. Turn attachment to the Dracloak, and there's the Iono.
Yep, get the attachment. Ever so important, as we've always mentioned. Iono there, putting the cards back to the bottom of the deck and drawing the number of prizes that you have remaining. Does mean Gabriel's gone from 7 down to 6. Omar does work with another fresh 6 cards as well. Gets another Recon Directive. Now has a number of cards in hand to kind of try and piece together maybe eventually that turn where we turn off that Itchy Pollen item lock. That 1 turn to try and turn the game on its head, to try and swing this series back into your favor. That's where we've got to try and figure it out right now, where we have the Dusclops being identified from this Ultra Ball here. Remember, it's not something for Gabriel to know that the Dusknoir is currently prized, but we're going to have to work with all these pieces.
We do see the Ultra Ball concluding there. Dusclops being taken. Night Stretcher. Love to see the Night Stretcher. What is this currently in the discard pile? The big, bad, scary Dragapult EX. There's the Dusclops as well. Oh, but we're still itchy pollening. Wonder if Gabriel taking his antihistamines. Pollen is flying all around the venue here in New Orleans. Gabriel, we know has the Charizard EX in hand, though.
Maybe looking a little bit frustrated just by looking at that hand.
Oh, no, we've got Iono the way. I apologize.
Yeah.
Quick search could go find it, though. What are we going to see? Who is going to break this baby Pokemon lock first? Is it going to be Gabriel? Is it going to be Omar? It looks like the way I'm seeing those fire energy lined up, that could be the big, bad, scary Charizard EX, and it is. Burning Darkness has been activated. Infernal Rain, I should say. Energy getting attached. Remember, Cleffa does have a free retreat. Won't be struggling to get that Charizard into the active. Now, I wonder, does Gabriel have any way of swapping Omar's active? We'd love to try and see that Burning Darkness into something other than that Budu. One energy attack, or two energy attached, I should say, to the Pidgeot as well. Blustery Wind could be an option. 120 damage. Would discard a Stadium as well, if you like. There's the boss's orders, though, into the Dusclops. And it is Pidgeot into the active. Blustery Wind. We're seeing it all here from Gabriel. We saw Cruel Arrow last game, I should say. Blustery Wind this game. Adrenabrain also being used here as well.
Yeah, once again saying, as soon as that Dusclops is coming live, it is going to be taken down. I've seen you use a Night Stretcher already as well, so trying to get all of those back at the same time. There's Blustery Wind, discarding of the Stadium, knockout of the Dusclops. 4 of those Dusclops now in the discard pile across these 2 games here. Gabriel targeting them down as a core key piece of his way of taking home this title here. Omar, back over to you. You are 1 prize down. Remember, you have to take this game to take it to a game 3. Counter catcher on the Charizard EX. Going to be start swinging away at the bad, big Terra Pokemon. Unfair Stamp as well. Supporter not yet played. Still loads of pieces to come together here for Omar.
Yeah, this is Omar's turn now. If he wants to become a North American International Champion, this is the turn where he starts his comeback. Unfair Stamp, reducing Gabriel's hand size. He's going to get the big bad first hit on this Charizard EX and initiate a bit of a prize race here, putting in damage, applying damage via the Phantom Dive as well.
Another one of those things. Can we try and find something like the Hawlucha maybe? Target down that other Charmander, just not kind of give any outs to it whilst dealing a lot of damage to the active. It's definitely an option. Would only even up the prize race, so yet again wouldn't activate Gabriel's counter catches of his own, as he does find another one of another Recon Director, finds another Dracloak. We're going to see more cards. Luminous Energy there. At least it's one of those options. Don't know how useful that other card is right now. It looks like it is an Arven. So just making sure we're having those pieces for the time being here. Dusclops is once again ready to go. Badu still in the active, has free retreat. Duskull also coming down once again. We're going to keep going round and round in circles with this current board state. So no Hawlucha for now. If we're swinging away, it's going to be 6 damage counters around the board of Gabriel. That could come flying back. Dragapult EX maneuvering into the active spot. Phantom Dive ready to go.
Big turn here. We do see a Luminous Energy turn attachment to the bench Dracloak as well. Big Phantom Dive, 200 damage into the active. 6 damage counters to play from the bench. Could see the KO on the Cleffa. We could leave that for later on, perhaps. Start setting up that Charmander. Remember, Gabriel does have access to Regenebrain, so 3 damage will get bounced back. We are going to see the Arven. We've only seen Unfair Stamp be used here, so Luxurious Cape is the tool card. It's an interesting one. I wonder if we're going to see Luxurious Cape into the Dusclops.
I think it's so scary when your opponent has access to a quick search ability, and other boss's orders can bring it up, and it's just, I mean, it's got 90 HP, right? With the Luxurious Cape, it gets stocked to 190. I
think it might be weak to dark, actually, so Luxurious Cape isn't going to be doing anything helpful, no.
But, you know, at least get it out of the deck. Phantom Dive announced 200 to the active Charizard EX. It's going to be a battle of the Terra Pokemon now. 6 damage counters to place on your opponent's side of the board. Let's see the angle Omar's going to take here. He's tried putting 6 on the Charmander before. He's tried spreading those damage counters out before. Each of them hasn't come to fruition yet. Maybe looking at that Cleffa going, that's an easy prize. But
if you do take the prizes, that burning darkness starts to knock on your door a little bit faster. But as you did say, we've tried both approaches before. It didn't quite work. I wonder if that's going to impact Omar's decision-making here.
Yeah, it looks like just a 6 on the Charmander going. I'm going to have to keep going down this route for the moment, at least. Over to Gabriel. What are you working with? Counter Catcher not live right now. Remember, he has been unfair stamped, has access to Quick Search, of course. Does have things like that Super Rod there, but what is the game plan at this moment in time? Quick Search means your game plan could be absolutely anything, and that's what makes this sometimes a little bit more difficult to follow, but we're seeing so many intricate sort of maneuvers of pieces here from Gabriel every single time.
Ooh, Pheasantipity is that third card. Can't use that. Bench locked and no Pokemon was KO'd. Worth noting, remember, that Charmeleon, that second copy of Charmeleon is in the prize card, so if we want to see another big, bad, scary Terra Charizard, it's going to have to be used in combination with Rare Candy. Yeah,
kind of, again, eyeing up that Professor Chura scenario. It's one of those key components. I'm not too sure if that exactly was taken. That's one way to maybe pick up the Pidgeot EX, get the energies off it, and maybe evolve up the other one. Yeah. Or could be a way to nullify this turn, heal up that Charizard EX, has Super Rod in hand right now. And again, unless Omar can find Dusknoir, and Gabriel doesn't notice that is prized, that Pidgeot can actually start stretching and kind of dealing a little bit of damage, picking away at the Dragapult EX so that a Charizard could come down eventually. Super Rod now recycling some of those energies as well, shuffling a combination of Pokemon and basic energy from your discard pile back into your deck. We've seen 2 copies from the first game. He does play 2 copies, and it's just one way to just keep going through, making sure you have access to things like that Infernal Rain. Gets, of course, that Charmeleon as well.
And Charmander's going to hit the field. Oh, wow. Okay, what are we dealing with here? Looks like we are going to see Adrenabrain healing off 30 onto the active. What is our attack going to be? It's going to be Grasping Draw. It is going to be... Oh, no, it's not. It's going to be a Blustery Wind. Both of which could be helpful here. It is going to be a retreat into... Oh, no, it's not. Musical chairs.
Here we go. Second guessing and stuff. I think it's one of those things where, like I already said, the attack will help to actually start putting that Dragapult EX into range without your opponent really taking any prizes. There's that free retreat now into the Pidgeot EX. Not something we see too often. Blustery Wind, 120 damage, 180 on total of that Dragapult now, down to 140. So well within range of a Charizard on a future turn here. And knowing as well that Pidgeot EX can't go down too easily.
No. It really can't. The weather has been really blusterous here in New Orleans, and Gabriel's continuing that theme with Blustery Wind being used. Again, Recon Directive has been used. Iono and Luminous Energy are the 2 there.
I wonder if we're going to see that Counter Catcher that he did pick up from a previous Recon Directive. There's only a Charmeleon and a Charmander there. That Charmeleon did take 30 damage. Oh, it had 60, but 30 left because of that Adrenabrain ability. So 2 70 HP Pokemon are still on the bench, basically, and there's no real space. But if you pop the Dusclops, there's an option there. There goes the Ultra Ball. Let's have a little look at the direction Omar's going to take this, because this is going to be ever so important. Is there a way? Maybe you can just try and find a way to take out both the 2 Charmander lines there on Gabriel's side of the board, because you have access to that Counter Catcher, because you have access just to the Dusclops for the time being. Is that enough? You know going into Dusknoir often makes your game plan so much easier, but is this one way to try and slow the game down enough that you can just knock out 2 of those Pokemon?
Would be really strong if you can, you know, get there. I mean, it's definitely possible. Curse Blast. Looks like activation is being used here. Remember, that KOs yourself and you get to put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. It is going to be on the Charmeleon.
There you go. So first Curse Blast of this Seniors Finals here in the North American International Championships. If you have just joined us, Gabriel did take game 1. Rescue, Night Stretcher, I should say, for the Dusclops back to evolve. The Duskull once again still has bench space to keep going at the same time. Right now, 20 HP remains on that Charmeleon. Dragon Ball EX, a second one into the active spot. Are we going to see it?
This could be monumental here.
Here we go.
There's the counter catch. You're going to bring Charmander into the active. This is an absolutely devastating Phantom Dive that would KO the Charmander. You could KO the Charmeleon. And we have some other damage counters to play with.
You could then take the Clefairy if you want to, but is that the game plan here?
Yeah, you could.
Just needs 2.
That would be 3 prize cards the old-fashioned way, 3 separate KOs.
Let's have a little look how this damage counter then flies over. Remember, if whatever he puts, there's 4 remaining. That Monkey Dory is there to try and send it straight back, but it only leaves the Pidgeot EX as a potential attacker in this scenario. Or actually could attack with a Monkey Dory as well with a Luminous Energy. But whether that's something we can go down or not.
Oh, but it is going to be on the Clefairy by the looks of it. Ooh, yeah, it is going to be on the Clefairy. 3 prize card turn, everybody. Omar doing his best to try and get back in this finals and secure himself a game 3. Fantastic, monumental turn is over to Gabriel now. What can he do? He's playing a Charizard EX deck with no Charmander or Charizard in play.
Yep, you saw how impactful just 1 Dusknoir's going to be. And imagine when and if Omar could get hold of those Dusknoirs as well. We do see the quick search right now.
Worth noting, he did take the Dusknoir out the prizes, so that means Phantom Dive plus Cursed Blast into the active Pidgeot. Well, if it hits the active, would be a KO.
But at the same time, just knowing that that Charmander's always coming there, had to develop 2, of course. Looks like there was a counter catcher onto the Dusknoir again.
Wow.
We're going to get another attack into the Dusknoir by the Pidgeot EX. Once again, because that counter catcher is now activated, Iono to boot as well to send Omar to 3 cards. And there's only 1 Recon Directive live now because he has evolved up into a second Dragon Ball EX.
Did find the other Pidgeot. We are going to see the Blustery Wind KO again. Gabriel down to 3 prize cards as well. This is a tie game, everybody. What has Omar got, though?
There's an Ultra Ball Recon Directive. Ultra Ball Boss would have been incredible.
That would have been amazing if you found that there.
But at the same time, doesn't quite have it for the moment. Looks like it was a Fire Energy. Just kind of deciding which direction we go down here. So that Professor's research in hand as well, so could just end up being a bit of a discard of some of those less useful cards, start reaching into others. Both players now down to 3 prizes remaining, just to keep an eye on the clock as well. 13.5 minutes remaining of this seniors final.
Looks like that Ultra Ball being debated when being played there. Going to consult that discard pile. Just goes to show you how impactful those Curse Blasts really are. We only saw it get used once, and it catapulted Omar into a big 3 prize card turn. What can Omar do here? They get hit by the Iono. We have seen the Recon Directive being used. Something's being eyed up. It is an Ultra Ball. What could this find? Could find the Halucha. Has that been used yet? Don't think so.
Not that I've seen as of yet. There's the Fire Energy discarded away. Is that a Blood Moon or Saluna as well? I can't quite tell. But
there is the Halucha. Flying entry. Remember, when Halucha hits the field, if it's played from your hand, you can put 1 damage counter on 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Both of those Charmander have 70 hit points. You could tag them both, and they would then be in range of the Phantom Dive.
And then at least you're taking 1 of them out.
Yep.
Give out opportunity for 2 to be developed at this stage of the game. Does mean you'd end up taking 4 prizes, but yep, there's the flying entry. Both Charmanders now with 1 damage each on them. Iono back to try and slow down what Gabriel has access to as well. Omar here just trying to match exactly what Gabriel is able to do here. Dragapult in the active spot. Luxurious Cape on the Badoo.
It's actually quite impactful. Means that we aren't going to see the Mind Bend, Adrenaline, I should say, but there is the Phantom Dive, KO on the bench Charmander, and 200 damage into the active. Omar with 2 prize cards away from forcing a game 3. Gabriel 3 prize cards remaining. Did get hit by the Iono. 3 cards after that, 4 after the top deck. Does have quick search available. There's an Arven.
There's so many pieces that still need to come together here. This would get so many great pieces Professor Churro scenario is already something that's been utilized, so won't have access to kind of heal that Pidgeot EX. But again, the support has been used now. Which direction do we go down? It's not as impactful in terms of maybe disrupting your opponent's hand, of course. But is there a way to just kind of build a board where there's no way for Omar to take 2 prizes on that next turn, and then you can maybe perhaps sweep on this turn and the final turn that you might have to get those last 3 prizes? Rare candies, the item pickup of choice here from this Arven.
Oh boy, is it going to be send Charizard EX in the active? Big attack. If I'm maximum belt, that would also be a big KO as well.
Second guessing once again, always leaving us trying to deliberate with him. Just kind of getting a tidy up from Omar's side of the board. Make sure it's as clarified as possible for both our players to make sure they can follow the game. Remember, all these small decisions can help you towards becoming an international champion. Rare candy once again placed down there.
And it is the maximum belt.
The A-spec there, maximum belt. You can see Shay's getting super excited because we don't see it too often.
Oh, no, he's
yeah, he keeps going back. Technical machine evolution. Maximum belt is back. It's concluded. Surely this is going to the discard pile. Going to the hand here. Wow, it's just kind of making sure. I mean, like you said, that ramp-up damage of the Charizard EX.
There is the Charizard. Do we have enough energy? We've seen quite a few. We've seen Super been played already. Yep. 2 would be the dream, and has 2.
Yeah, we had after the Professor Churro scenario on that Charizard EX, we had the energy super rodded back into the deck there. Infernal Rain powering it back up. Burning Darkness now doing a base 180. 4 prizes taken means it's dealing an extra 120 damage to your opponent's EX Pokemon. Well, not even EX Pokemon, just to your opponent's Pokemon. That's 300 total. Usually not quite enough, but that maximum belt would mean you're stretching over the monstrous HP of that Dragapult EX.
Or we could use Adrenabrain as well to reach there as well.
Yeah, I guess that's why he was deliberating, not necessarily taking the maximum belt. So multiple avenues, multiple lines for Gabriel to take this knockout here, leaving the big Charizard EX in the active spot. Now is utilizing that Adrenabrain onto the Badoo there. Just kind of double checking, what do we have access to? There is a jamming tower in the list as well.
Here we go. This is a big turn, Burning Darkness. That is a KO. Gabriel Fernandez is 1 prize card away from winning the North American International Championships. Is over to Omar here. What can he cook up?
Do we have access to any more counter catchers?
Not in the hand yet. Professor's research was there.
Yep, there's a recon directive being utilized, right?
I think Boss was taken. Boss's orders gets there. Omar Cortez forces a game 3 here at the North American International Championship. Goodness gracious me.
Incredible scenes to bring it back. It looks like after that Dusclops went down again in this game 2, we were going down the same path, but we found a way. We took a massive free prize turn, and it was just a great display of exactly how usual Dragapult Dusclops decks go into this Charizard. Gabriel wasn't able to piece together and sort of protect that board as well as he could, but at the same time, it is now 1-1. Not much time left remaining, and we get a chance to just watch that back. Let's see how it all went down.
Yeah, that game 2 was one for the ages. Gabriel Fernandez again, using cards like Blustery Wind to discard stadiums and KO those Dusclops. However, this game, Gabriel wasn't able to keep it away perfectly, because there we did see the Cursed Blast that resulted in a big hefty 3 prize card turn. And that's how Omar was able to catapult himself into the lead here. And to make no mistake about it, Gabriel was, jumping through the hoops, able to remove that Dusclops once again and have a big, bad one-shot on that Dragapult EX. But off the clutch, recon directive, Boss's orders, Phantom Dive, and now we're forcing a game 3.
Yeah, incredible scenes here for both our senior players in this finals here at the North America International Championships. Remember, if you are just joining us, I have no idea what you've been doing so far during this day. Both our players are setting up for a game 3. I can't wait to get this started. Handshake going. Drawn card here. Game 3 of the seniors finals has kicked off, and it looks like Omar for the first time is going first.
Here we go, one game to decide it all, no room for error. Let's make some noise in the venue for Omar and Gabriel. The winner of this game will be the North American International Champion. One final game, one final test. Let's get started.
Let's go. That Horlucha is going to be sitting in those prizes a little bit longer. Monkey Dory has not been utilized by Omar this game, so he's probably quite happy to see it still be there. Couple of those fire energies, though, actually, there's only 2 being played, but when you have access to Luminous Energy as well, maybe you don't have to worry about it too much. You just have to make sure you can get hold of those Psychics.
Good draw attention to that Horlucha. We did see it get used in both games. Now, traditionally, players do take their prize cards bottom to top, so we could see it being taken, but it is over to Gabriel now. Omar started the turn benching a Duskull, a Dreepy, and a Dreepy. Now, it is over to Gabriel. He's going to start us off there with a Buddy Buddy Poffin. Cleffa hitting the bench. The Pidgey hitting the bench. Do we have a Charmander? As we do get to consult the prizes. Maximum Belt is in the prizes. Charmeleon again. And a Pidgeot EX.
Pidgeot EX, again, making it a little bit more difficult to get hold of that quick search at some stage here as well. But not yet the Charmander. Must hopefully have access to one, otherwise wouldn't have targeted maybe the Cleffa, but knows I'd have to go into Grasping Draw here. Maybe that hand just isn't looking too pretty. I'm sure when we get an opportunity, we'll try and follow along, get a glimpse where we can as well. There is the Charmander from the Ultra Ball. And that's the scary thing, right? You've played down all of your items because you know what's coming back at you on future turns, because that Badoo is looking menacingly in that kind of field of grass and flowers there, ready to send an Itchy Pollen straight over to your board. But what can we piece together? Energy Attachment Retreat, Grasping Draw, both players playing at pace, knowing there's just under 5 minutes to go. Omar's turn 2, Dracloak ready.
You are going to see the Recon Directive being used, Ultra Ball taken. What else can Omar do to piece together on this turn? As that Ultra Ball is being eyed up. Discarding Luxurious Cape and a Night Stretcher. Is this going to be for Dusclops? It's going to be for another Dracloak. Getting out all the reconnaissance there, drawing cards, filtering them into your hand. And remember, Omar can end the turn here with that Itchy Pollen, denying any rare candy shenanigans to mean there will be no turn 2 Burning Darkness if he so wishes. And we are going to see the Dracloak hitting the field. Recon Directive being used here.
Yep, 2 big cards. Rescue Board, always a useful card to have at some point, especially if you lose a Badoo at some stage, wanting to give yourself a pivot there. Pheasantipity, Itchy Pollen announced here onto the baby Cleffa in the active spot. No item cards for Gabriel to use now.
Does have the double stage ones in hand.
Easy evolutions up to 2 of the stage ones.
And the Scout in as well.
Oh,
wow, now that's
setup.
A board state. Itchy Pollen. Gabriel must have his antihistamines here. Mustn't have the allergies. That is a ridiculous board state.
Just under item lock as well. Again, this is where we've seen a lot of these. Oh, Jamming Tower also being utilized as a Grasping Draw now to replenish the hand up to 7.
I think I saw the Charizard EX in that hand off the Grasping Draw. Is over to Omar now, though. Buddy Buddy Poffin. Dreepy Duskull, I think that is.
Yep, keep putting the threats on the board, making sure you let Gabriel know that these are going to keep coming at you here. We are slowly and very surely approaching time. There's now 2 minutes, 45 seconds. There's going to be real sort of back and forth swings, I'm sure, at this point, because we're going to start seeing some prizes taken as soon as possible. Remember, if we do go to time, it's whoever is on prizes at the end of the 3 additional turns. If there is no one, it's until someone has gained an advantage. But let's get to that stage first, of course. Second Recon Directive now. Double Ultra Ball, easy choice.
Yep, easy one. That's the easiest decision Omar's made all game. There we do see the Jack being used. Grab any 2 evolution Pokemon. Dusclops.
Dusclops and another Dracloak there, getting that board ready for the next turn. Kind of making sure. Still needs to try and find some more energies, of course. Yep. Has found one of those 2 Psychic energies.
Yeah.
We'll need to find a Luminous Energy to actually be able to get an attacker off here. But of course, we did just bench that Dreepy, so can't necessarily place that at the moment. Itchy Pollen announced again. Cleffa down to 10 HP remaining.
Pidgeot in hand and Charizard EX as well. Gabriel, are you kidding me here? Infernal Rain activation. Fire energies slamming from the deck onto the Charizard. Whatever Gabriel wants to do this turn, he can.
Let me guess. We've seen it.
Yep.
We've seen this happen in game 1. We've seen it happen in game 2. Will we get boss's orders on that Dusclops? Let's have a little look.
Is there an argument for just boss's orders removing the Dracloak with the energy, denying any future Phantom dives, at least in the near future, especially considering how the time is going?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure both our players well seasoned in being in this position, fighting out for titles here as we do get the final attachment there. There's a quick search.
And it is boss's orders into the Dracloak. There will be no Phantom dive next turn for Omar.
Massive pickup here by just having the virtue of those stage 2s in hand. Grasping draw. The MVP right now in this game 3.
Really
Time is ticking, but we have our stage 2s. We have our attackers set. Charizard, EX in the active spot. We're going to be taking the first prize of this game 3.
Big, bad, burning darkness for the KO. 30 seconds left. Crowd making some noise here. Omar going to bench that Pheasantipity, flip the script, draw 3. There's another recon directive, and here we see one of the downsides to these Dragapult decks. If you're not playing any way to accelerate energy, if you're stuck in this scenario where you haven't got energy in play, Phantom Dive is not live.
8 seconds on the clock. Maybe those 2 fire energies being prized right now is really going to come back and bite Omar here. Dragapult EX being evolved up. Timer has been called. Omar will be turn 0 here in this final game in the seniors finals.
As we do see Arven being played, rescue board plus unfair stamp combination. Is the unfair stamp enough? We do see a counter catcher into Monkey Dory, and there is the unfair stamp. Is this unfair stamp enough for Omar to try his best and get back into this game 3? Currently 1 prize card down, advantage definitely with Gabriel. Can the unfair stamp be enough to hurdle Omar back into the lead?
Always so scary with Quick Search Live. Remember, Omar is turn 0. Gabriel will then be turn 1. Omar will be turn 2 of his final turn of this series here, and Gabriel will have that final turn 3 of time. Iono picked up from the last recon directive available. Just kind of double checking. There is an Itchy Pollen on the Monkey Dory. Turn 1 of time now for Gabriel, who already is 1 prize card ahead in this series.
Here we do see Quick Search being used. Grabbing any card he likes.
Any direction he wants to go down, he has access to. Card cherry-picked already from the deck will be going straight into that hand. What else are we working with to try and maintain this lead? Kind of just double-checking how many cards Omar has access to right now in that hand. Again, we're making sure we're running through our minds every single one of these options, every single one of these plays, but that's why these players are in the position that they are.
Oh boy, this is, we're walking a tightrope here. What was it? Professor's Churro scenario. That would remove Monkey Dory from play, perhaps. Remove the Cleffer, remove any easy prize cards.
Absolutely.
Adrenabrain is live.
Here we go. Looks like just kind of ticking off potential damage away from the board. Make it as difficult as possible for Omar. I mean, there's not even an energy attached, right, to the Dragapult EX?
No, no energy was found. We are going to see the pay retreat. Charizard EX hits the active spot again. Professor's Choice scenario, removing that Cleffer. No easy prize cards for Omar. Pidgeot, and then we are going to see the Burning Darkness. Gabriel takes the 2nd prize card here. Looks like it's going to be the Arven. Turn 2 for Omar here. What can you do? No energy in play, no Phantom Dive. Worth noting, we do see 2 Dusclops, but you can't really use that in a time scenario because you give up prize cards using it.
Yeah, having to try and overstretch the amount of HP remaining or just on your opponent's side of the board. Gabriel, have you found your way here? We do have a chance. Maybe just try and find any sliver of a percentage on this final turn for Omar. He's weighing it through in his mind, I'm sure.
Looks like recon directive. No, flip the script, I should say. No, flip, what was that?
It was a flip the script.
It was flip the script, I apologize.
There you go. You've got the
What
die
can we
there.
do? What can we do, Alex? What's the most ideal thing Omar can try and piece together here?
It's so difficult when you've missed those energies. Those dust clops are waiting in the wings. In terms of a board state, aside from those energies, that's all you really have been missing throughout these turns. Ultra Ball here being played from Omar. Looks like that Dusknoir being eyed up. But again, is this too little, too late? It's a shake of the head. He's looking at those resources going, where have those energies been when I've needed you?
The prize cards, right? Unfortunately.
He doesn't, well, he knows that, but he needed to find them, Shay.
Yeah.
He needed them every single turn. It's not just about setting up the board of your Duskclops and Dusknoirs and your Dragapults. You need those energies to even think of attacking.
It's a cruel mistress sometimes, isn't it? Had the energy in games 1 and 2, didn't have the Curse Blast, now has the Dusknoir Curse Blast, but hasn't got the energy. We do see the Dusknoir evolution now. Curse Blast, 13 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. You would knock yourself out, though. And in a time scenario, that's definitely not what you want to be doing.
Just pushes your opponent closer to winning.
Yep.
Is there any options remaining here? Buddy Poffin, he's going to look through that deck once again. Gabriel's there, it's just kind of waiting to see how Omar plays this turn. If prizes aren't equaled at the end of Omar's turn, the game essentially will be won by Gabriel because he could just pass that final turn of time. I mean, it's getting intense. Iono being played now.
Oh, here we go. Is
Four
this
cards.
Iono going to be enough?
He's finally found the energies, but not the right moment. Counter catcher as well.
Counter-catcher.
But without any energies to attack. Shay, this could be really problematic for Omar.
I think it is. I think it is. What can we do? We're going to see a switch. Who's going to hit the active spot then? Dragapult EX. Hardest Pokemon for Gabriel to knock out.
Not currently possible.
No, not possible. Jet Headbutt 70.
Just the colorless energy required to use that Jet Headbutt.
Counter-catcher. Going to KO a Charmander. Does reach into that. Jet Headbutt for the KO. Is over to Gabriel now, though.
This is turn 3 of time. Gabriel's ahead on prizes.
Quick search being used. What do you think we're going to grab? Boss's orders. Boss's orders for Serendipity. There we're going to see the big burning darkness. There's the KO. Undefeated, unstoppable, undeniable. Ice in the veins. Gabriel, you are a North American international champion.
Keep making noise for your champion, Gabriel Fernandez. Drink it in. This is the summit. The boy from Brazil has conquered it all. Latin America, Europe, and now the North American International Championships, a Grand Slam. Already before you, a world champion has now delivered the most perfect season the game has ever known.